Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Vent This. Now, keep in mind as we go through this that we're not approved or endorsed or certified in any way to listen to people, to talk to people, to be with people, but we're going to listen to your vents, and we're going to try to provide some constructive criticism, some witticism, and we'll provide whatever comes to our mind when we're dealing with whatever it is that you've brought upon us. So, before we get started, we have our guest ventologist with us, and he's our old friend Don. Let's get started with this.
What's up, venters? Every time we go visit our friends in the mountains where it's muddy and usually wet, we are asked to please take our shoes off before entering the house. That makes sense because our shoes or boots are dirty. But what about the animals who were in the snow or on wet grass? Why don't they wash their paws? I'm now walking around the house with my socks on, and my socks are getting dirty, and my feet are cold. I just think this is not fair to the guest.
Well, I have a rule. If I go over to somebody's house and they tell me to take off my shoes, I say then they have to take off their pants. You want cold? I'll give you cold.
And how does that work out? So this is somebody complaining that they're going to their guests. They're going to somebody's house and they're being told to take off their shoes. Is that what it is?
Yeah, because they have dirty shoes.
But if you don't like the weather, move. You know what I'm saying? It's like don't go visit your friends. That's how it is. I mean, I think it's ridiculous that somebody would get upset. It's like it is their house. It's like people come into my house and they go, "You let the dogs on the furniture?" It's like, yeah, they live here. And I'd rather have them on the furniture than you. It just depends who your guests are.
You have a lot of problems with your guests climbing on your furniture, Chuck.
Yeah, no, I don't open the door. I don't have any guests.
You don't have any friends.
Right. Yeah. I have a sign on the front door that says the dogs were here first.
Go away.
Yes. Yeah.
I'd like to check out your furniture personally.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's great. I mean, we sit on a sofa. The family sits on a sofa, but we've got a lot of dog beds for the guests in the living room.
I have to tell you, we have family, and when we go visit them, they ask us, even if it's beautiful weather out, to take your shoes off before you walk around the house. It's just something they do.
Is it a certain culture, these people, or that are doing
well,
this
they're
way?
European, so I think in Europe this happens. But they came up with a good solution. At the front door, they have slippers. So once you take your shoes off, they've got multiple sizes and you wear the slippers. You don't have to walk around with your socks. Because I agree. I don't want to get my socks dirty. And then I got to hide my feet because the bottom of my socks are black. And when I walked in, my socks were white. And I don't want to look like I don't wash my socks.
Right.
So I can put a slipper on and walk around.
I don't even like wearing other people's bowling shoes when I go to the...
that's true too.
Good point. Yeah.
Wearing other people. Yeah.
A lot of this, I think, is cultural, but there's also a lot of people that I have a niece that they're vegans and they're very clean and and it's like no shoes, and they do the slippers. It's like they
their
provide
thing is
slippers.
No meat, no shoes.
Is that how it works?
I guess so.
It's
the
no generation.
Wait, I don't understand. What do you mean no shoes? They don't wear shoes?
No, they don't.
Just because they're vegan?
In the house. No, in the house. No, it's the cleanliness thing and the germs. It's not about vegan. I'm just saying this is the way they live. They're vegan. They don't want people coming in from the outside with germs. So you leave your what are those things called that go on your feet? Your shoes. You leave your shoes outside, and you put on slippers. And they have little cloth slippers, like little booties when you go to the hospital that have rubber on the bottom.
Or you're going on a house tour, you wear booties.
Yeah, they give you those. Yeah, the air conditioning repairman comes in, and he puts booties on, or the plumber. It's like this is like a new thing, and people are, we're just getting to be germaphobes. I think at some point too. It's just kind of crazy. I mean, I hit my head on a metal dashboard, on cars, and I lived, I've eaten dirt, I'm fine, but nowadays nobody wants to eat dirt, hit their head or whatever. I don't know. Am I rambling on with my own personal problems?
Chuck, nobody eats dirt. Okay. Nobody. except maybe a dog. Nobody eats dirt, so I don't even know what it has anything to do with.
Well, no, but there's been dirt in the food that I've consumed. Have you ever had like blueberries and
you don't wash your fruit?
I wash them, and sometimes there's still dirt there. You ever bite a strawberry and there's a little, and it's not just the seeds. I mean, there's a certain amount of dirt in our lives, and I think having a certain amount of dirt in our lives is good because it builds up your immunity to the germs and the dirt. And some people, they're living such a clean life that it's like, oh my God, it's like a gnat went up their nose and they're in the hospital for a week. Come on.
I think that's how Jeffrey Dahmer started.
That may have been. Yeah. I think it's a two thumbs up story there.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope we help this person, but I really do think putting slippers or something by the door, and bring your shoes inside. Don't leave them outside, because then when you put them on again, they're cold. Right. Or maybe a bug went inside. I don't want a bug biting my first toe.
Yeah, but plus, if you're just putting shoes there for people to use and reuse, it's like now you got some guest that comes into your house and they have athlete's foot. The next guy that puts those shoes on has athlete's foot. I'd rather have a little dirt on my feet.
Okay, well, you're apparently a mountain man, Chuck, because I didn't. Okay, or a grizzly man.
Yeah,
see, they don't have these problems at nudist camps.
There you go. See, there's a point. There's a reason for those places.
Well, I hope we helped. Let's move on to our next vent.
Okay.
Hey, Venters, this really bugs the crap out of me. First, let me say, I am a very good tipper when I go out to dinner. It doesn't matter how good the service is, I always tip 20% because I feel the wait staff and everyone involved deserves a good tip. Okay, where I draw the line is when they make the sandwich in front of you. That does not merit a tip because they are doing their jobs. I can see at a restaurant when the waiter goes back and forth, bringing our food and cleaning the tables. That's worthy. But to just build a sandwich in front of me, sorry, not leaving a tip.
You know what I think? I think this person's cheap. I mean, why wouldn't you leave $1 or $2 for somebody who makes a sandwich? Really?
Well, I don't know. See, this is a new thing that's happening now, and it's getting to be more and more common. It's like the other day I went to pick up a pizza to bring home, and it's like it's got a little place for a tip. It's got a spot, to fill in the tip. It's like I went in, I gave him my credit card, I paid for my pizza. Why am I tipping you? Just for working there? You know what I'm saying? It's like we've gotten out of hand. I bought a hammer at the hardware store the other day. There was a little window there to leave a tip. For what? I bought a friggin' hammer.
That's so not true, Chuck.
No, it is. It's true.
There's no tip jar at a hardware store.
Not a tip jar. It was on the receipt. It was like the hammer was $37.95 plus tax, and then there was a blank spot for tip. It's like, why am I tipping the person who's selling me the hammer?
I've never seen that.
This is ridiculous. Well, come to my hardware store.
I felt guilty for not tipping the guy who reads my gas meter.
Yours or the one that's on the house?
No,
if it's your meter, you should actually tip them. The one on the house, I wouldn't give them any money.
But unseriously, folks, when you're tipping a waiter, you're tipping the guy going back and forth. At Subway sandwiches, you're tipping the cook. It's different between the cook and the waiter.
Oh, that's a bunch of baloney. They're making a bologna and salami sandwich. What's he cooking? He's an assembler.
Right.
You know what I think? I think we need to investigate this gentleman because maybe the owner of the store takes part of the tips, and that's why the tip jar is there. I've actually heard this before, but I don't know if that's a fact.
Well, and that could be true. The local pizza place that I go to, I've gone in there. Like I said, there's a little place for a tip, and I'll sign my name, and sometimes I put in a tip, and sometimes I don't. And I noticed that the people that take the payment from me just take the ticket and drop it in a can. They don't even look to see if there's a tip. So who knows if they're even getting the tips? It may be going to the owner or the manager of that store.
Yeah.
I think the person that makes the most tips is a moil.
There you go.
Do you tip them?
The moil? No, he just he takes his own tips.
Oh.
He creates the tips and he takes them with him.
Okay, well, that's
anyway,
okay.
But this is something that's happening more and more. I've heard of this, and I've actually seen it on the news, like Burger King, McDonald's. It's like you go to these drive-through windows, and there's actually a little tip thing now. You could leave them a tip. You don't have to, but it's like, I think it's crazy. It's like,
Yeah.
Well,
it's
I think
getting
they
out of
solved
hand.
it all. Again, let's go back to Europe again. The tip is part of the bill. You don't tip because it's part of the bill when you get it. You have
Yeah.
already tipped in
yeah,
Europe.
Or how about this? Getting off subject a little bit. You go to a restaurant, you get the bill, and they've already added 20% onto the bill. I'm like, what the hell is that?
That's
Right.
what they do in Europe.
yeah. And but you got to read your bill. If that's there, I'm fine with it, but you got to know not to leave a tip on top of that tip. And sometimes they don't tell you that's happening.
But have you seen the kind of tip thing at the bill, and they tell you how much to tip for different percentages?
Yes.
Yeah.
50% is this, 20% is this, 30% is this. Right?
Yes.
They tell you how much. They figured it out for you already.
Yeah. Well, I think I kind of agree with this person. If you're making a sandwich, I'm looking at the bologna, I'm looking at the onions. They're all lined up. I see the bread. The guy slaps it together, rolls it up. Thank you, goodbye. Why do I have to tip? I'm watching him doing it. I could have gone behind the counter and made my own sandwich.
And it may come to that. Maybe someday you'll just go in there and order some salami, some cheese, some bread, and you make the sandwich. They just throw the crap in the bag and you go. And you make your sandwich when you get to the park or in your car or wherever you're going.
Hey, that's not a bad idea.
That gets to another point, and it's a sharp one. And
we'll be the judge of that.
Yeah.
And if you eat in a fancy restaurant and the bill comes to $700, then you're tipping 20% of $700. But if you go to to 7-Eleven and the bill is $1.32 and you're leaving 20, so it's not equal to the waiters and waitresses who are working in the cheap restaurants in Denny's as compared to something with a French name, La Maman. Right.
Yeah.
And so 20% is different in different, the guy's doing the same work, bringing the food back and forth, but one's working in La Maison and the other guy's working in Cheap Harry's.
But that's like anything else in life. It's like, if you've got a better situation, you're going to make more money, so they need to upgrade and go from the 7-Eleven to the
Obviously, you guys don't speak French.
No.
Neither do. Yeah.
So did we solve that problem? No, not at all, right?
Yeah. No, we did not. But anyway, let's move on to our third vent.
Does Loretta have any more letters? Loretta, sing a letter.
Hello, venters. I'm going to get straight to the point. Why are hot dogs, burgers, French fries, or for that matter, any food or beverage so outrageously expensive at sporting events? I was at a football game the other day, and the hot dog was $12. Really? It's a freaking bun with a hot dog on top. The fun about sporting events is to watch your team play, have a beer, a hot dog, or a burger, and not feel like you just spent one paycheck. I remember when a dog was $1.50, and trust me, I'm not that old. When I took my family to this game, it cost me 90 freaking bucks to eat, and I'm not even including the price of the tickets. I think from now on, I'm going to watch football from my couch and barbecue my own burgers. Stadiums, you lost a customer.
Well, that's an option. Or barbecue your own burgers and take them with you. I mean, you can take a little something with you in a bag and then just buy a drink when you get there. I used to go with a friend of mine, and this was before security was so tight. We would stop at the liquor store before we got to the stadium, and we'd buy one big, it was Sapporo, used to come in a big jug, and we'd go in, and security didn't check, and you had it under your coat, and you'd walk in because they didn't have the metal detectors and all that stuff back in that day. And we'd go in there, we'd drink that beer that we bought at the liquor store, and then we would buy one beer at the beer stand. So we had a cup, and then we just drank from that pitcher that we bought. I told the story backwards, but maybe our friend Gary, who works on all our audio stuff, can reverse what I said, and it'll make sense. I don't know.
You know what else he forgot to mention? I agree. It's outrageously expensive. But what about the parking? The parking is
For
another like what, $30?
Yeah.
So by the time you leave that place, plus the tickets, you're spending $200 at a football game.
Well,
It's absurd.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that things are changing, and things are getting more expensive. But yes, I don't know how people with 4 kids and I guess credit cards and a home equity line on the house and then you worry about it when you get older. I mean, but yeah, things are increasingly getting more. I mean, I remember when gas was 13 cents. I remember my father, I specifically remember it was a Sunday afternoon. We were going to my grandmother's for Sunday dinner, and my dad pulled into a gas station to buy gas. It was 15 cents. He got out of the car and he looked across the street and it was 13 cents on the other side of the street. He got back in the car. We drove to the other side of the street and he filled up the car. Now we don't care if it's $5.50, $6. It's like, oh, I need gas.
How
It's
old
just
are
a
you,
different
Chuck?
world we live in. I'm very old.
Well, I think that with the players' salaries the way they are, I think the players should spring for the nachos and cheese for the people in the audience.
Nice.
Good
Nice.
thought. Good thought. Yeah.
I mean, $36 million for 2 years to catch a ball.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Spring
Yeah.
for the, spring for the juju beads.
Yeah.
Right,
How about
there you go.
Yeah.
These nachos have been brought to you by Justin Turner. Yeah.
what
I
about
love it.
football?
There you
They're
go.
getting 150 million. No, 300 million.
Yes.
And they're like 25 years old. Give me a break. I like that idea,
Yeah.
Don.
Yeah, somebody
Yeah,
just
buy
signed
me
a
some bonbons. I came
Yeah.
all this way.
somebody just signed a contract for something like $900 million or something over 9 years or something. It's like it's nuts. It's like
Yeah.
you're making $300,000 a minute,
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
I agree with this person.
Stay home,
Yeah.
watch it on TV. You get better pictures and you get replays.
Yes. Buy me
Yeah.
a Snapple.
Yeah, and let's get a bourbon and watch the game. Well, friends, I hope you enjoyed listening to us, and stay tuned for our next episode.
So go to the website at ventthis.org and leave us an email vent. Or you can leave a voicemail vent at 818-570-2535. That number again is 818-570-2535. We'll see you then, or you'll hear us then. Something's going to happen.